Welcome to a new little featurette here on KUR, the radio voice of Kutztown University, where we have Monsoon Mike, that's myself, with meteorology professor here at Kutztown University, Dr. Michael Davis. Dr. Davis, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is our debut edition of this new little featurette, which we don't even have a name for yet, but that's just the whole joy of this little featurette is it's totally unscripted. You know, we've not really rehearsed much beforehand, and we think that you'll like that. The point of it is that each week we're going to discuss a little bit about what's going on in the week's weather coming up, or what has passed, and then we'll take a little topic like climate in general and go from there and see what happens. Before we do, Dr. Davis, how's your semester been going?
Semester's been busy, but enjoyable, although the weather's been a little lacking lately. But we'll get to that later on.
Yeah. So what exciting things have you been working on with your classes this year?
Well, I got a research proposal going on right now involving the mobile game Ingress,
Nice.
Which is essentially a blend of GPS and capture the flag and a little bit of risk involved. It was based off the people who created Google Maps and Google Earth.
Okay.
That group since split away and become Nintech Labs, which incidentally is coming up with some beta test for a Pokemon
Nice.
Game based on the Google Earth, the Google Maps interface.
Right.
So I don't think I'll be using that in class. But
Right.
The Ingress has more of a geographical aspect to it, and I'm hoping that my physical geography students can learn a little bit more about geography, the local area itself, and hopefully it improves their test scores as well.
Sounds good. So it sounds like you have a very full semester coming up. Well, we're already deep into the semester already. Time flies already, so
Yep.
It sounds like you're busy.
Oh, yeah, but I have enough time to talk about weather. I always do.
I know you do, and this is going to be a new weekly thing. Well, speaking of the weather, maybe it's kind of good that the weather's been so dull because then you can focus a little more on this other stuff. It's been a very, well, I guess most people would say, unless you're crazy like us that like bad weather, most people are loving this. And, I mean, you really can't love this. I mean, you can't not love this is what I'm saying. It's been beautiful.
When you get into a monotonous pattern like
yeah.
this, it gets a little boring.
But you get a little
while.
antsy. I know. As a weather guy, I'm getting a little antsy for some storm. And we had a little bit of activity. Last weekend was interesting. We had we had two storms in a row. We had the one on Thursday, then we had the one on Saturday. And last weekend was actually our first, I guess you could say, real burst of felt like fall for those 2 days.
It certainly did.
Yeah.
We had a trough that was coming in over the eastern U.S. that was allowing cooler air from Canada to come on down, and that exited fairly quickly, and then we warmed back up into the 80s at that point.
Yeah, that seems to be the pattern this year. I mean, we get these little bursts, but then quickly we go back into, a summertime pattern. Now, of course, this past week was a little different than the past two heat spells. The big thing that was missing this past week was the dew points have been very nice. So it's not really, and nights have cooled off. It's almost like Arizona weather where it gets hot during the day, but at night you actually get a little chilly.
Yeah, so the diurnal temperature range has been fairly high.
Right.
With warm during the day and cool during the night. That's because of the lack of the water vapor, which is the greenhouse gas, which absorbs the infrared energy that the Earth gives off.
Right.
So if you lack the water vapor and you have clear nights, that's going to cause the temperatures to drop sharply.
I live up in Schuylkill County, which is about 25 minutes north of here, and I recorded 49 a couple nights ago, and then in the afternoon, 85 degrees. So, I mean, that's quite a spread there, 49 to 85. But that's what you get in these dry situations.
I hate to mention this, but I have not set up my weather station yet since I moved into my house.
That's right. You recently moved. This is not good. Not good.
So maybe I need to set that up before the weather turns.
Well, you're lucky that it's been so quiet, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. No, we've had some great temperature ranges there. And so coming up in the next couple of days, we have a weak cool front coming through, I believe, Saturday night, looks like.
Yes, it's looking that way, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get any rain out of it because it's pretty much going to run into all the dry air that's in place.
Right.
But as of today, the cold front is crossing the Midwest, and there could be a risk for some severe storms across Missouri and Illinois because of a lot of wind shear that could be developing from that frontal system. The low itself is up toward Hudson Bay and James Bay, so northern Ontario, and it's just trailing all the way down. It's going to cross the Great Lakes and my home state of Ohio tomorrow, and then be here by Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening.
Right. By the time it gets here, I saw National Weather Service going with just a very small chance of a shower Saturday night. I think they put it at something like 20%. So
Yeah, and I think they're just trying to cover their bases.
yeah, just in case. Yeah. And then Sunday, it's going to be nice again, sunny, but noticeably cooler. So then we start a couple days of temperatures in the, low 70s, you think?
Yes, it looks like 70s, and temperatures I think are going to start declining slightly, but
Stepping down a little bit, yeah.
if you were looking at the Climate Prediction Center outlook for next month, it does look like October is supposed to be having a decent chance of being above average for temperature-wise.
Yeah, I've heard a couple different sources. I heard one source, I won't mention any names, that thought that October was going to be a little bit below average and then November above average again. But now I'm seeing the most recent data, and I really don't see anything that I would consider below average in October. Maybe average or slightly above, but I don't really see below. So
And that seemed to be mirrored in the Climate Prediction Center outlook that I saw just on Wednesday when I showed the students in class.
So do you think we've seen the last of the I hope we've seen the last of the 90s. Let's put it that way.
Yes, I'm fairly confident that we're done with the 90s.
I'm not so sure about the 80s. I was looking at next week. Maybe mid next week we could already flirt with around 80 again. But do you think we're, obviously this fall's shaping up to be slightly warmer than average. But do you think we're slowly starting to see that downward trend toward a more comfortable fall? Because I love fall.
Yeah,
and to me, this is nice, but now I'm getting tired.
I think we are going on the downward slide, but temperatures will still be kind of fluctuating, going up and down. But largely, I think we're going to be hovering around the 70s for probably the close of September.
Yeah. October still can get very warm. I remember my birthday. My birthday is October 5th, and it was 2 October 5ths ago, and I remember this because it was my birthday, and I hate hot weather. We came near a record high that day of 85 degrees, and I was not happy at all. I'm like, what a horrible birthday present. Everybody's like, this is gorgeous. I'm like, no, it's not. Give me some cold weather.
My birthday is October 18th, so I'm right behind you.
So you're right behind me. So hopefully by October 18th. October can go all over the map, as we've seen in recent years. I mean, we've had snowstorms in October. We've had hurricanes in October. Or, well, not technically a hurricane. What was it? An extratropical
storm.
But, for all intents and purposes.
Superstorm, Frankenstorm, whatever.
Frankenstorm, yeah. And we've had, October can be anywhere, so that's definitely a very fun month. But isn't October technically, and this is kind of a climate question, I heard that people don't think of this as true, but it actually is. Isn't October actually one of the sunnier months of the 12 months, I believe I've heard?
I haven't heard so much about actual sunshine data with the months, but based on my observations, I would probably say that could be a fair assessment.
Yeah.
So, fall also tends to be a little bit more windy because the jet stream is starting to go further south, which allows colder air to come down to our neck of the woods. And the severe weather season usually has what they term their second season with tornadoes and strong storms because of the shifting of the jet stream.
Interesting.
Usually you have tornadoes that are more common around April and May when the jet stream is moving back north as the temperatures start to warm. But as the jet stream starts to sag southward, as temperatures cool, you can also have a secondary maxima in tornadoes.
Right. Interesting. Now we're talking about fall generally leaning above average temperature-wise. Why is that? I mean, of course, the big buzzword of this year, and I'm almost getting tired of hearing it. Every time I hear it, I'm going to bang my head on the wall. El Nino, El Nino. That's all everybody's talking about it. Is that why we're having these crazy temperature variations, or is that kind of putting all our eggs in one basket, blaming it just on El Nino at this point?
I think it's probably a factor of numerous things, but I do think this El Nino that is forecasted to happen, it hasn't happened yet.
That's a good point for people to realize, yes.
Usually it maximizes itself around Christmas time. That's why it comes about. But it's definitely showing a lot warmer sea surface temperatures off the South American, Mexican coast. Now, whether that's having any impact on our warming, I would probably say